My hair, I have dark short hair, and a gray sweater and a black dress. So, okay, so I was gonna wait for the, I don't see that. Okay, yeah, I see the interpreter. I was looking for the interpreter. Okay. So hi, like Bambi said, I've been friends with her for a very long time. I've been working in the field of assistive technology for many years, and I am a special education teacher. And I'm here to talk to you today about assistive technology and how it can remove barriers for student achievement. And it also can increase independence and improve their academic performance. So I have right here a QR code on my screen. If you would like to join our mailing list, you can scan that and sign in, and we'll put you on our mailing list. Our services are free to everyone. We do professional development. We have a lending library. I'm going to just go on to the next slide. This is a link to the presentation. Bambi has another place to get the presentation, but if you wanted to scan this link, you could also get the presentation and all the information that I'm going to be sharing with you from this presentation link. And you could follow along if you have a device or whatever. You could just follow along with me. Okay, so like I said, I work with the Louisiana Accessible Educational Materials Program, and we are, again, a free resource to parents, families, professionals in the kindergarten, K through early childhood, K through 12th grade sector. So anything that pertains to education and school, we can definitely address any kind of needs that you might have. If you are, if you're a parent or if you are a professional, we help both sides of that continuum. So our website is on the screen. It's ssdla-aem.org, and you can see all of our ongoings and all of our information from our website. So we have service centers around the state of Louisiana. We are right now existing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And our main office is in Baton Rouge at the School for the Blind and Deaf. So if you wanted to get in touch with us there, you could also, and all of our contact information is on our website. So what I wanted to do with the crowd first was to maybe get a little poll to see who I'm talking to. And so if you wanted to, you could use your cell phone, or you could go to a new tab on your browser and go to Slido, slido.com, and type in 247396. And I'm going to just post a few questions, and then you could answer through that portal. Okay. So I'm going to give some time for people to just kind of go out to that site or scan the QR code. And then I'm just going to ask like 3 questions just to kind of get a feel of who I am speaking to. A few more minutes before I start it. Okay. So my first little question is, where do you work? And whenever I say where, I just mean like what part of the state. Or you can put like the place that you work for too. That's fine. Okay, cool. Some early steps people. Cool. Okay. Got some people here from Mississippi. Wow. Okay, so next question is, what is your title? Like, what do you do within your job that you're currently in? Like, what is your, so it's cool that I'm seeing a lot of program managers and coordinators. They'll be able to share the information that I'm sharing with you guys to different schools or people that you might be networking with, just to know about the information. Awesome. A lot of coordinators, okay? And last question, how would you rate your knowledge on assistive technology? Awesome. Some very experienced people, maybe a few newbies too.
Tammy, I pressed 5 without
Without,
what the question was. I thought I was rating you.
oh no, I'm asking the crowd's information participation. I mean, the knowledge about assistive technology. And you probably know more than you think you know about it. Um, a lot of times we find that out, that a lot of people know more about it than they think they know, because they never really called it that, you know. So I'm going to talk about some examples of what it could be, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I know about that. So kind of midway. All right, so let's get into objectives. So what I want to try to do here today is to increase everyone's knowledge about assistive technology, and how it creates the least restrictive environment for the student with special needs. We're going to look at a framework to guide decision making for assistive technology, and we're going to look at some available support for our general education curriculum and access and participation for students who are have an IEP, or just might be needing to be included in gen ed environments. Okay. Okay, so these are the laws that mandate assistive technology to be considered, and it's been around for a few years now. It's not a new thing. It's always been a part of our consideration process within the IEP process. And so we have to just remember that it is the law, and we do need to talk about this. And there is a need. So what is assistive technology? So let me make sure that when I shared my screen, share the sound so that you can hear. And I'll put, everybody can turn on their own captions, correct? I'll put the captions in the video on too.
We all like to do things, like color, and read, and use a computer. It's how we play, learn, work, and get things done. But when a disability makes it hard to do something we'd like to do, we need a little help. Luckily, there's a solution. Welcome to Simply Said, Understanding Assistive Technology. Assistive technology, or AT, is anything that helps you do something you couldn't do otherwise, like walk, run, communicate, and more. These helpful tools can be as simple as a foam grip that makes it possible for a child to grasp a crayon and create art, as common as glasses that make it possible for a student to read and learn, or as sophisticated as software that makes it possible for an employee to convert their spoken word to text on a computer screen and succeed. Whether you're young or old, male or female, whether you've had a disability from birth or developed one over the years, AT can help.
Okay, so just a little quick video about what assistive technology is. So like I said, you probably know more about this than you think you did.
We all like to
Oh,
do
sorry
things,
about that.
like color.
All right, so here are the technical definitions of assistive technology. I'm not going to read them all to you, but basically, assistive technology is a device and a service, or it could be either or. It could be a device or a service. So it's more than one thing. Universal design for learning, I'm going to kind of go into that definition a little bit and show some examples of that. So universal design for learning is a framework to improve teaching and learning for all students. And it's based on how everybody learns, how they take in information, how they express information. And I'm going to show you a little cartoon picture here. And the picture is a picture of a guy shoveling off sand off of a stairwell. And then there's a ramp on the right-hand side of the stairwell that also has snow on it. And there are children at the base of the stairs and the ramp waiting to enter into the building. And one student is in a wheelchair. The rest of the students are standing and walking. And the caption reads, "Could you please shovel off the ramp?" The student in the wheelchair says. And the person shoveling the snow says, "All these kids are waiting to use the stairs. When I get through shoveling them off, I will clear the ramp for you." And the student in the wheelchair says, "But if you shovel the ramp, we could all get in." And so basically, this is a great representation of what universal design for learning could do, is that if you design the instruction from the beginning accessible to all, then everybody gets something from it, as opposed to it being only accessible to students who take that information in a certain way. Okay, so just looking at universal design for learning. And so every Student Succeeds Act is an act that was passed that, and it basically what it states is that all assessments must be developed to the extent sorry, the word is like getting off my tongue, using the principles of universal design for learning. So we want all assessments to be accessible to all students. And there is a law that protects all students from not having to take tests that are not accessible. All right, so this is one of our favorite AT people out there. His name is Christopher Bugay. He has written a book called The New Assistive Tech. Assistive technology has changed over the past years. It's gone from being this thing that's only special for certain kids to being universally designed for any kid to use. And so the reason that this has changed is because of the advances in technology. And so what I want to do is I want to show this really great little video about what teachers need to do. They need to become educational, experienced designers. So it's teachers that have to change their instruction so that they can reach all students. So this student right here, I'm just going to go ahead and play this video and maximize the screen.
Hi, I'm Tucker, and I'm a student. Like many kids my age, I enjoy many different things. Like playing soccer. Like riding my bike. Like walking my dog. And like playing video games. But what I like to do most is learn new things. School is a place where I can do just that. Teachers, I thought I'd make this video to help you know what I like. This way, you can help me learn how to learn. I made it into a 4-step process. Step 1. I love to solve problems, not just memorize facts. I have all my facts right here. What I really need to know is how to find the facts, prove they really are facts, and find out what to do with them. Also, the more real the problem, the more interested I am. Helping others feels great. Step 2. If you always tell me what to do, how will I ever learn for myself? I learn to make good decisions by making decisions. I love to make my own choices. One of these decisions includes the technology I use. Please design lessons with some flexibility. Not everyone learns exactly like I do. Technology allows you to provide options for everyone. Step 3. I love to make things. Sometimes this is with my hands. And sometimes this is with technology. Filling out worksheets really isn't that interesting. Creating things, whether that be a video, podcast, story, cartoon, or anything else that will be seen and used by others, is super fun. What are we gonna make together? Step 4. Finally, and most importantly, I want to have fun. I don't want school to feel like a chore. I have enough of those at home. I want learning to be fun. If you follow steps 1 through 3, then you can't go wrong. And if I'm having fun, then chances are you're gonna have fun too. Now for a quick review. 1. Introduce me to real problems to solve. 2. Guide me to help me make my own choices by providing options for everyone. 3. Give me an opportunity to make stuff. 4. Let's all have fun. Instead of thinking of yourself as a teacher, think of yourself as an educational experience designer. What kind of awesome educational experiences can you design? I, along with my entire generation, can't wait to find out.
Okay, so I just wanted to show that because I feel like we need to kind of shift our thought process as educators to designing more interesting things for kids to be engaged into as opposed to worksheets. So I also want to show this next slide and play this game called Name This Disability. On this slide, there is a picture of a worksheet with 5 questions, and the student has filled out the answers, and they have written to the best of their ability. So in the chat box, can they chat? Can they type in the chat box? Go ahead and put in the chat if you can. What disability you think this child has by looking at this worksheet. I think you can type. I'm not seeing people type, so I'm not sure if you can type. Oh, it's in the Q&A. Okay, sorry. Okay. I see some people saying dyslexia. Some people said autism. Some people, one person said cerebral palsy. Okay, let me, how would you even know? Someone said, I cannot tell. Those are all great answers. Okay, we'll move this out the way. So the answer is the child doesn't have a disability. That this work right here is produced by a typically neurotypical child in 6th grade with no known disability. And the main concern with this example is that the students is not that the students' abilities are learning, but it's the design of the lesson. Did the student did this activity really was it really something the child was able to show what they know when it's really hard to read what they said? This should not be the only way students are showing what they know by answering questions on a written test. They should be able to show things that they know in other ways besides just answering questions on a test. So so I just wanted to kind of show you that lots of kids out there are performing like this on written tests, but they probably could do a much better job if they were given alternate ways to show that they know, like maybe creating a video, or maybe doing a PowerPoint presentation, or maybe creating something with their hands, you know. So just showing that example just to kind of give you an idea. So this is the International Society for Technology Using Educators Standards for Education. And so we want to be able to shape and empower learning through technology. We want to be able to advocate for equitable access to technology and digital content and learning opportunities to meet the needs of all students. And you could do that actually a little bit better when you have technology in place, because you can really customize each individual's experience using technology. You can collaborate and you can create authentic learning experiences and by leveraging the technology. And so these are the standards for educators using technology. I also wanted to kind of just let people fill out a survey to show me what their children, if you have children in school, or if you have if you work with the district, what technology do they use? You know, now ever since COVID happened, a lot of districts had a lot of funding. To some districts went one-to-one, one computer, one child. So I wanted to kind of like do a little survey, or let you do this survey just to kind of let you comment about what is the technology usage in your district. Because we have noticed over the past couple of years after COVID that there was a big push to use technology with students. And then once we came back face to face, everybody went back to paper pencil. Not everybody, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of people went back to paper pencil because that's what they're comfortable with. But if you notice on this slide right here, the Department of Education has a document called Building Digital Literacy. It's very interesting to see what is expected, what digital skill is expected at what level the child is in, from kindergarten through 12th grade. If you take a look at some of these skills, you'll see that keyboarding and the proper use of posture and how to locate letters and numbers on the keyboard is introduced in kindergarten, and it's mastered in 5th grade. So the expectation for kids learning to type with a computer at the department's level is that they get keyboarding from they learn how to do that in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and they master it by 5th grade. How many kids do you know have mastered typing in the 5th grade? The reason that they are not able to do that is because they're not being offered the opportunity to do that through 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So this technology readiness diagram is very eye-opening. It goes into word processing, spreadsheets and tables and charts and graphs to access numbers and to crunch numbers. So it's a really interesting document that the DOE put out, and I want to say they put it out. There's no date, but it's actually been out for a few years now. And so that's it's called Building Digital Literacy, and it's, like I said, it's very eye-opening example of what kids should be able to do at what age. Okay, so assistive technology consideration is part of the IEP process. And it is an ongoing process that the IEP team considers for the student, what kind of assistive technology they might require to achieve their goals and objectives, and to be in the least restrictive environment. Everybody on the IEP team should be commenting and should be giving their opinions as to what technology or what tool the student could use to be more independent. It should happen with every IEP. So every annual IEP, you should consider the use of assistive technology, and that sometimes will change. Sometimes it will grow. Sometimes you will reconsider what they've used in the past if it's no longer working, and maybe something new came out that the team wants to try with the student to promote their independence in the classroom setting. And it is legally required to do every IEP meeting. A lot of times what we find is that the IEP team says, oh, they don't need that. And that's not how you consider it. You don't consider it by just saying the child doesn't need anything. If the child didn't need anything, then I'm not sure why they have an IEP. So there is a framework for consideration called the SETT framework, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. All students with disabilities should be considered for assistive technology. The common error in this is that only students with the severest disability get considered. But all kids that have an IEP, there should be a conversation about assistive technology and how it can help that child. There is a range of assistive technology. It starts from low tech to mid tech to high tech. And low tech is basically paper products, paper things that can help children, like anything from a paper-based communication board to a Venn diagram. And then mid-tech is battery operating devices that might better help students with spelling maybe. High-tech would be a computer or maybe even a high-tech communication device. So the SETT framework, like I was saying, the SETT framework stands for student, environment, task, then tool, and it was developed by Joy Zabala, and I have a resource here. I also have a link to the IEP form in SIR, and so whenever you consider the assistive technology, first you look at the student and their functional area or concern of need, and it could be from academic to cognitive, communication, motor, self-help, social. You want to also consider their current strengths and weaknesses. And then when you figure out where they are needing assistance, you would look at where is the environment that they're going to be in. Like, how can you rearrange things? How can you rearrange a desk? What kind of support can you give them in certain environments? And then what materials and equipment are available for all students, because you might not need to make that many accommodations if the students already have materials and equipment that everyone is using. Attitudes, expectations in those environments. And then what is the task the student is trying to complete that they're having difficulty with? What are all the other students in the classroom doing? And then you want to make sure that within that task, the student is able to participate and do something within that task to their ability. And then what tool could they use to help them be successful with the task? So there's lots of different tools out there. Okay. Here's just some different ways to be able to frame the question as to say what assistive technology device or service would help that child reach the goal. So again, thinking about what is their present level of performance, how is their disability affecting their performance, where does the task need to be done, what are the strategies that are being used currently, and then are there any specific tools or strategies we can use? Okay, so here's the big question on the IEP. That's very, very, very important. And it is, if a child has limited or no verbal skills, how will they communicate in the classroom with the peers and the teachers? Every student should have some type of communication system they are learning if they are nonverbal, whether it's just a simple array of core words that they are trying to communicate. The teacher should be modeling that type of communication in the classroom that they are expecting the students to become fluent with. So what we see a lot is that the child that is nonverbal doesn't have any communication system that they are learning. And what ends up happening is that child ends up having behaviors that arise, and then everybody wants to have a behavior plan. when they should have had a communication plan filled out. And so right here on my slide, I have the tools for developing communication plans from the department. Every school district has their own way of addressing the unique needs of nonverbal students. And so this is a suggested way to consider communication for a child who is having communication issues. And so it's about a 15-page document, but the actual communication plan starts on page 9, and it's only 3 pages. So the first 8 pages are all about that conversation that the IEP team would have to talk about the unique needs of the child as it pertains to communication. Like, for instance, what language is spoken? What language is spoken in the home? So if the child is coming from a home with a different language other than English, then the IEP team and everybody working with the child needs to know that the child's first language is Spanish or Laotian or whatever, so that you can understand that the child might understand what you're saying if you speak it to them in their native language. So all of these questions in this document are really critical to considering the unique needs of that student and how you can approach teaching a communication method to that child in the classroom. So that's there for your information. All right, so the next thing is student response mode. So when students are being statewide tested, the teachers have to designate what will be their response mode. If they are nonverbal, how will they say, that's the one, that's the choice I want, that's the answer I want to choose. So these are just some examples of how the child could say that in the class while they're being questioned or even on standardized tests. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. All right, so some more examples of assistive technology. We in our program have an assistive technology loan library. If you click on this picture in our presentation, it'll take you out to our inventory on our website, and it'll show you by location all over Louisiana. We have 5 different centers, and I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5. And you can, depending on where you're at in the state, you can choose by location to see what kind of inventory, assistive technology inventory we might have that the school district could check out. We typically check out 2 school districts for the purpose of them trying before they buy for that student. Some of these devices are a little expensive, and if IEP teams are unsure of what is going to be the solution for that task for that student, they can definitely try some of these devices out before they actually go and purchase that for their library. So this again is on our website, and anybody could peruse this library, but typically we check out to school districts so that they could try before we buy, but they could try before they buy. Okay. So what I wanted to do today, as I have enough, if I have enough time, is show some examples of accommodations and modifications within a curriculum, so you can kind of see what teachers could do to modify and accommodate for students' specific needs. And so what I'm looking at here is the LDOE's ELA guidebooks, English Language Arts curriculum, and the particular unit is The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I think it's a 6th grade unit, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm just going to take some lessons and an activity from this example and show you how you would apply assistive technology for student outcomes. Okay, so for the purposes of my examples, I want to explain when I say high incidence disability, what I mean, and when I say low incidence disability, what I mean. And so I just want to be clear, when I say high incidence disability, I'm talking about students maybe with dyslexia. These are students that have a disability that's a larger part of the population than low incidence disability. When I say low incidence disability, I don't mean low cognitive necessarily. because that child could be either hearing deaf, or they could be visually impaired. And if they are, then they are academically, typically those students are academically on level. And it just means that it's a low incidence disability. That means that it's not a large population of students, and their disability doesn't, it's more common with like hearing impaired, deaf, or significant cognitive or physical disability. And it's just a lower incident of the population of students is basically what we're talking about. Okay, so looking at reading difficulties, typically students in classrooms have issues with these areas when it comes to reading. So phonemic awareness, which is the ability to focus and manipulate on the phonemes of the spoken word. Phonics is the ability to associate the sounds with the letters and use these sounds to form the words. And then vocabulary is identifying the meaning of the words and using these words appropriately within the text. And then comprehension is understanding the intentional interaction between the reader and the text that conveys meaning. So these, and then fluency is just being able to read fluently and understand what it is that you're reading as you're saying the words. So these are some of the areas that usually typical students, or actually students who struggle, have trouble with. All right, so I have a little handout. So as I show these different assistive technology strategies and tools, if you click on this handout, you will see that the accommodations are listed in the first column. The tools and strategies are listed in the second column. And then there's a notes column in the last column. And I've put in here, if it's a response accommodation or a presentation accommodation. And this is actually taken from the IEP, this third column. So that's just a resource that you can share with anybody who is kind of wanting an example of these kind of accommodations. All right. So this slide is a slide that just shows, hold on one second. It shows what the teacher would be doing with the students in this lesson. They're going to be reading the chapter from chapter 1 from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And the class is going to read and work with words, discuss and express understanding in the summarizing activities. The second card shows what the students need for the lesson. So they're going to need a copy of the book. They're good in the way that they can read it. So like if they're visually impaired, they might need a Braille copy. Some of the students, if they're not reading on level, they might need a digital copy so that they can listen to it being read to them. They also need a reading log where they're going to be taking notes, and they're going to need their semantic map, their handout that they're going to be doing. Okay, so this is what a gen ed lesson would look like. Now, so here's what maybe the resource teacher might do to prepare for that student to be included in that lesson. And I'm talking about high incidence supports for students who are maybe dyslexic, or they may just be reading below level. So digital formats of the text are available. Sometimes you can just Google that title of that book, and sometimes you'll find the digital text just out there for you to grab. This example that I put in my presentation is actually from Canada, and it goes out to this Canadian website, and it's the entire text for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So basically, some different things that teachers can do to make this accommodating for the student without changing what it is that they are doing. Project Gutenberg and Bookshare are two resources that you can get digital materials from, and students that have print disabilities, meaning they cannot derive meaning from just looking at print on paper, will qualify for Bookshare, and school districts do not have to pay for this resource. It is free to any child with an IEP with a print disability. So school districts typically have a book share policy, and they have students that they have a policy where they certify students for book share, and they're able to get all their books in digital format for free to the schools. Okay, so what I would like to show is different ways to simplify text. If you have students that are if they visually look at text that's too close together, they kind of shy away from that. They don't want to look at it because maybe the font is too small or the words are too close together. So there is a Google Chrome add-in called Mercury Reader. And this is, oops, sorry about that. Whenever you have that loaded on your computer, it looks like a little spaceship, and I think it's right here. It's kind of grayed out on mine. So let me click off of it. Okay, sorry, that shouldn't have happened. Let me just go through my presentation back to the slide I was on. Sorry, kind of reset my slide deck. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to show here is I have the digital text up, and if you could see the digital text is like small and all the words kind of jumbled together. With this Google Chrome add-in, when I click on it, it gives me some features that I can make the text with a different background. If I go into this right here, I could say I want it large, medium, or small text size. I could change the text font really quickly and see how I could change the color. So this is just a Google Chrome add-in that allows me to change the way text looks immediately without having to copy it into a different framework. And it's called Mercury Reader. And it's one of many Google Chrome add-ins that you could put into the student's Chromebook that allows them just to see the text in a different way. And a lot of times students say, oh, I like the way that looks better. And they're not, they don't shy away from looking at that text. Another thing you can do to simplify text is use the free tool Rewordify. And so this tool will change what the student would be reading by simplifying some of the vocabulary on that document. So what I could do is I could come in here and I could grab the first paragraph of what they're reading, copy it, and then come back into this tool called Rewordify, paste it in there, and then I could tell it at what level I want to rewordify it. Okay. And then when I hit Rewordify, it rewordifies it down, maybe a reading level, but I could look at the stats here. So that gives you the stats of the reading level, and it's all free. You can teach the students how to rewordify paragraphs if they're too difficult or they don't understand the words. And what happens is they'll take the word, and this was air raid, and sometimes they'll rewordify the word inside, and when you click on it, it'll tell you the original word. So it's exposing that child to the vocabulary and the words within the gen ed text, but then it's giving that definition within that same view. So you're still exposing that student to that content. You're just giving them a little extra something by giving them that definition built into the paragraph. And again, it's rewordify.com, and it's free for students and teachers to use whenever they're getting exposed to new texts that they might not know all the vocabulary words. And it would be hard for them to follow because they don't have that prior knowledge. Okay. Color coding materials is another way to create an accommodation for a student just by using color coding. And so I have an example here of color coding and using color coding to help students just see materials in a different way. Okay, so this is a reading accommodation log with color coding. And so notice how the chapter, the table of contents is color coded. And as you go through the document, you're using color coding just to kind of help the student out. Okay. So looking at, let's prepare for the same activity for low incidence students. What would accommodations and modifications look like for a student, maybe with a little bit more needs? And so this example is being able to create a picture dictionary with the vocabulary from the reading really quickly using a tool called Read Write for Google. And so what you're seeing on the screen right now is you're seeing a GIF or a video.
I think we may have lost Tammy. I think we may have lost Tammy, but we'll work on getting her back on. Brenda, I see you have your hand raised. If you have something, you could type it in the Q&A. Okay, we're just waiting for Tammy to get back. There's Tammy.
Sorry, guys, my computer just went black.
You got back to us quick.
Yes, it just totally went black. And I was like, oh God, here we go. We didn't say the technology prayer. Okay, here we go. So I think we're back. You see my screen now?
Yes, everything looks fine.
Okay, doke. All right. Okay, so what I was talking about was Read Write for Google has a tool where teachers can go in and automate a picture dictionary. So what you're seeing on the screen is just the steps to go do that so that teachers can create these accommodations and modifications really quickly, because it does take a lot of time and preparation for teachers to give students the materials that they need in the way they can take them in. So another idea is I want to just show you this adapted book. And so what we did was we took the same reading that the gen ed students were reading and we put in pictures, and every time the character was mentioned, we put the characters on that same page. So we didn't change what the students were being exposed to. We just added pictures that supported what the text was saying for those students that understand better through pictures. And so every time the character talks in the paragraph, we would put the picture of that character before what they were saying. So this is just an example of that first chapter's reading and what material could look like for a student that's maybe included in this gen ed setting for this lesson. So just that little example. And then kind of summarizing with pictures, this whole paragraph, what you really want the student to understand from that paragraph. Sorry. Okay. So showing the next part with reading. So high incidence supports for reading and highlighting using Google Read Write for Chrome, just showing how to use a masking tool so that student could be looking at that section of the text and being able to just highlight different parts of the text, because all the students have to highlight words in the text as they read it, words that they may not know, words that they might need to look up as they read through the text and use their reading guide or their reading tool. They have to like find vocabulary words. So just teaching them how to use highlighting tools to be able to pull out words that they have to define. So this again is a read write for Google Chrome tool that we're looking at, and it's using screen masking and highlighting. These are all different tools that teachers can let students utilize while they're learning new materials. And these are accommodations because we're not modifying what the child is being expected to do. We're just giving them tools to be able to do it a little easier. Magnification, keyboard shortcuts is also a modification, an accommodation using reading filters and color overlays. And then highlighter tape is a low-tech tool. If the student had materials that were paper-based, they could use highlighter tape. And then again, adapted pencils. So this is a, just a way to have them write with pencils that are more easily to grip if they're using paper. Okay, so for low incidence, let's read section, you can put in something like the pen friend in place. The pen friend is an audio pen where you can record a word or a sentence. And when you show the pen the yellow highlight, it reads back that audio message. So you can program the text if the child doesn't have a computer. You could program some little places in the text where the child reads it out loud, or it will read out loud to the student. Looking at defining words, a student that might be a lower cognitive might just be looking and defining one word out of the text. And so for this example, we chose inquisitive, which means curious. And we just let them pull that picture off of the text and put it in their words to learn. So this is how we adapted it for a student with maybe lower incident supports. And their reading log would have Velcro as opposed to pencil because they're not really working on that type of thing. Here's an example from Misunderstood, the website Misunderstood, and it's hyperlinked here. So when I click it, it goes out to understood.org. And this is a great website that has a lot of resources for children that struggle in school settings with various exceptionalities. And this is just an example on how you would use assistive technology for the writing process. What do kids struggle with? Who struggles? What kind of tools? So when you scroll down, it'll tell you, it has this really cool little generator right here too, where you can say what role you're in, what do you need help with? Is it reading, writing? So like when you select the role, it says parent, caregiver, educator, I'm here for me. So students can use this too. And then what do I need help with? And these are all the behaviors I might struggle with: distraction, following instructions, stress, anxiety, managing my emotions. And so you could save that. And then here's the learning, like, is it reading? Is it math? Is it school struggles? And then you would say, what are you trying to do? Stay organized, talking and understanding. And then you see, when you click on see my resources, what the website will do is it'll generate a list of all kind of resources that pertain to your needs. So it's very cool on their website to be able to get information around that certain disability and what the characteristics are and stuff. So for writing, here are some handwriting tools like pencil grips, and then keyboards, touch screens, dictation, being able to talk into a computer and let it type what you want to say. That is an accommodation for students who have trouble writing with their hands or they can't spell. Dictation can be an accommodation for that student. Word prediction. So like when the student is typing, we all use word prediction whenever we type on our cell phones. So that's also an accommodation. And then using spell check or grammar check, using text to speech to be able to hear back what you type. That also can be an accommodation. And then of course, for those visual learners, using graphic organizers to organize your thoughts and ideas. So this website is a really great website. It's called understood.org. This is the home page of it. And there's a lot of really cool examples of students on here that they can show you, like, you know, this is a student that has this exceptionality. Here are some things that they struggle with. And here are some solutions that you could maybe try to help that student. I see that I'm almost running out of time. I'm almost finished. Okay, so students with significant disabilities, like, how do they write when they don't know what letters mean? So here's some thoughts and ideas. A company has put out their action dictionary. This is the AbleNet company. And they have this action dictionary that shows what what is the child trying to do and how can they do that action. So for example, they could tally to write. They could have a list of things that they choose from, and they could tally like which ones they want to choose. They could circle what it is they want, the ending sentences that they want to write. They could record. If they speak, they can just record their answer, or they can record what they want to speak. They can choose from an array, or they can stamp if they have that ability. So I do have a link in that slide to get to this. If you have an iPad, you can download this whole entire dictionary. It is free, and it's really great for those teachers teaching those kids that don't hold a pencil. How are they going to do these school-based things? A lot of kids have a lot of trouble with being able to do something that's school related because they just haven't developed that skill yet. So this is a really great resource. Okay. So just as a summary, using a comprehensive approach, like for students, if they can just listen to an audio book with social studies content, they can answer related questions based on that. And basically they're not being assessed on their ability to read, but they're being assessed on their ability to listen and come back and answer questions about what it is that they heard. So if you're not teaching the student how to read, then you don't need to, you can actually use different ways for them to get that information in other than them reading it themselves. Okay. The remedial approach example is if a student listens to a book or has the computer read or scans in a digital version of the book while reading along and trying to learn unfamiliar words, you're improving the areas of deficiency. So just know that if you offer it to them in a different way, it doesn't mean that that's cheating. It just means that not all kids take in things the same exact way. So assistive technology, in a summary, fosters inclusion. It facilitated learning experiences. It removes barriers to the curriculum, and it increases independence. The most important thing is that we want kids to be able to be independent when they get out of high school and be able to do things on their own. If you are in an agency where you guys are working with adults, LA-AEM is your assistive technology resource out there. Their services also are free like ours. Our program goes from kindergarten to 12th grade. So I just wanted to share LA-AEM's website with you guys if any of you guys are working with adults over the age of 21. This is my contact information. Thank you so much for listening to my spiel about assistive technology. If you have any questions, if you want to know more about our program, this is our website. But you could email me directly with any kind of questions. And I'm going to just look. Are we able to use AbleNet with unique learning system? Absolutely. A lot of AbleNet's products actually go hand in hand with unique learning. And so because unique learning is the curriculum, and AbleNet offers some of the tools to access the curriculum. But if you have any questions about that or what that would look like, reach out to me, and you can probably come to our center and I can actually show you some examples of that. If you're a teacher or if you're a parent helping a teacher, definitely we are here to help you help students. And then I think that's it for my presentation. If there are no other questions,
Tammy,
Bambi. Yeah.
yeah, you actually have until 11:30.
Oh, I thought it was 11:15. Sorry.
So that's okay, but we did have some Q&A.
Okay.
I can give that to you. So is there a legal requirement that teachers and staff are trained to use the child's technology effectively? This is a complaint I hear often from parents, that the teacher and aides don't know how to use the AT.
Right. Right. So you're asking, is there a legal requirement?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
So when the student is considered for augmentative and alternative communication, typically the parish, the district goes through a assistive technology consideration process where they recommend the AAC for that student. Now, when students come to school with their AAC device already like designated, and the school system did not recommend that device, that's where it gets kind of cloudy, you know? So so that's where the parent could come in and say, well, I want my child to be evaluated by the school so that the school can deem what system they recommend. I know a lot of kids nowadays that are nonverbal will get a private entity to get them so they can do it through Medicaid and stuff. So here's where you get into issues, is if the school system says, well, that's not the device our team would recommend, you know what I mean? And so like you're constantly butting heads with, we would say this and you would say that. So you just have to be on the same page. I'm not sure, it depends on the district, okay? And I don't want to get into any kind of legal battles because I'm not a lawyer and I'm just an AT facilitator. And all I know is that I know that there are districts out there that do really great trainings and that implement these things really successfully. And then there's a lot of schools out there that don't. And so what I want to say about our services is that we are here to help people learn those systems and to help them become fluent so that they can help the child be fluent with those systems. Because if those people are not modeling the use of that system within the classroom setting all day long, then that child will never have the exposure to become fluent with that language. So again, about the legal requirement, I'm just not sure how to answer that question other than saying that the district has policy and procedure in place for AT consideration. And if the child is nonverbal, they have to consider that. They have to have, it's called the communication plan. And so every IEP, if that child is nonverbal, that IEP team should be doing that communication plan. So if the communication plan states that they need an augmentative communication system and they send one from home, then yes, those people on that IEP team need to learn how to use it. And so sometimes districts do internal training for that. And if they don't have the facility, if they don't have the people on staff that know the language, they can reach out to us and we can help them learn it. We can send them resources and we can help them come up with strategies on how to learn it. But ultimately, they have to model using that system. And so that's what's happening is they're not modeling language through that system. And so I hope that I kind of answered the legal requirement.
So Tammy, just had a follow-up question. So what you're saying is there a legal requirement if the team recommends the device? So if they put it in the IEP, that student will utilize this this device or this assistive technology, then there is an obligation for the staff to know how to use it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If it's in the, we all know if it's in the IEP, it better be happening.
Right.
And so a lot of times the district will put that in the IEP. And so what those teams and what parents could maybe do is reach out to us and you know, we could help with the training of the usage of that device, because a lot of times people don't know what they don't know. And a lot of times when they look at those higher more high-tech devices, the language looks really foreign and it's intimidating, and people are like, oh, he can't do that. You know, they'll have that attitude where the student can't do that. No student learns Spanish without being spoken Spanish to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're teaching a foreign language to a child, you have to use that language. Just like if the child was learning sign language. In order to learn that language, you have to use that language with that child in the environment 100% of the day. So I think that we just need to be diligent with our practices and use the device. So you're not going to ever learn it if you don't use it. So I'm not sure if you address how to use. Okay, so someone just said, hi, Laura Nada. I think I know her. So this is a great statement she said, and it was about using the AT during holiday breaks in the summer. A lot of school districts, I don't know exactly specifically which ones, but a lot of them have that holiday policy in place where they will send the device home with the child. You just have to ask the person at the district, the person who is over it all, what's the policy? You know, what is the take-home policy? And if they don't have one, then I would push for this year being the year they create a take-home policy. Because again, if the student is not being able to use their tool all the time, then they're not going to be fluent in using that tool. So, I mean, there's lots of different solutions, you know, to this issue. And you just have to work it out. We have to learn to work together. We're not fighting against each other. We should be working together, communicating, and figuring out what's the best solution for that student. Because independence is what we're trying to promote. So again, every school district is different. So you really have to reach out to that person in the school district that deals with those decisions. If you do not know who that person is, reach out to me. I have contacts in almost all the districts in the state, and I could find out for you who that person is in your child's district that you would talk to directly to get the answers. Because you need to better find out the answers.
To follow up on this, Jim had said basically a child needs to access their AT at all times, like you said, and of course this includes their homes, weekends, holidays, and over the summer. Do kids and their families get this type of access to AT, which you answered? Parents' involvement and understanding in assistive technology can make or break a student's educational experience. And I think I would go further than just educational experience. I would say their life. I mean, if you don't have communication, that's such an impediment. So thank you for that point, Jim.
And I mean, what we notice a lot about augmentative communication is that making the decision of which device to use is only one problem. The next thing is, what language set do you start with? You know, so like all of these high-tech augmentative communication devices, and I'll show my screen real quick, and I'm just showing one to show you what I'm talking about. I'm not saying this is the only one, but I'm just going to show one, right? High-tech augmentative communication device. It's like once you decide, oh, this is the one I'm going to use, the next thing is, which language organization system am I going to use? It's such a lengthy process for deciding, and the thing about it is that you're constantly evaluating, is this the right one or should I use this one? So it's very, very important for the speech therapist to be involved in the decision-making process of that language set, because they are the language experts. I'm a curriculum expert. I'm a curriculum person. I'm a teacher. I don't have the background a speech therapist has. So it's very, very important to be talking to the whole entire IEP team when you're making that decision. And when changes happen, everybody is in agreement that this is the change needs to happen. And it's due to the students' needs, not the people on the IEP team's needs. It's not about the people on the IEP team, their needs. It's not about, oh, I can't learn that system. Sorry, you know, but we have a bunch of resources when it comes to learning this new language system. For every different company that's out there, they produce a really thorough resource for implementation that teachers, paraeducators, parents, everybody should be familiar with when they're learning to model through that system, because it's about what we do with the student in the beginning. When they're learning, it's not what the student can or cannot do. It's about what we do as the communication partner to help that child learn that language system. Okay, so I can talk for hours about that whole process. We don't have enough time, but
So
if
we have another question. Can you show where the tools for developing communication plans is on the Louisiana Believes website?
Absolutely. Okay, let me go to that website, and people love it and some people don't.
And while there's another question too, this is great, but how does someone keep track of all these choices? So that's two questions for you.
So, okay. So when we say someone, are we talking about the IEP team or are we talking about family members?
Anyone, I guess the choices that you were showing, like you gave a lot of tools. I think this is what I'm understanding. You gave
Okay.
a lot of resources. So how to,
Yes.
you know, to go through and figure out what's right and where to access it.
Yeah. Yes.
After the presentation.
The IEP does have a document. It has an assistive technology consideration checklist in the SERS program, where it suggests all the different types of assistive technology tools out there and for what they might be used for. So the IEP team does have a resource built into SERV that helps teachers do the assistive technology consideration checklist. We at our center do have a little assistive technology wheel that if you're going to an IEP and you're like, I just don't know, we do have a wheel. I don't have it at my fingertips right now, but it's a wheel that talks about all the different kinds of assistive technology and for what you might be using it for. And I could share that with Bambi and she could actually share that out with everybody. So I'm looking at right now the Department of Education's website, and I was being asked to show where that communication thing is. And so I'm going to take you down the road where I would go to get it. So I would go to the library. Of course, you can search it. You could search by communication, but I'm going to go library and I'm going to go category and I'm going to go students with, there's a lot of different ways to get to it, but I'm going to go to students with significant cognitive disabilities. And I want to say it's down here under communication, but let me just go ahead and check. Of course, it's not on this page. Let me go back to and just type in communication plan. Typically, whenever you search things on the DOE site, sometimes it'll come up. See, like this is not coming up. It might be on the second page. Yeah, this is great. This is great that
Which I think is a excellent point that many people make.
Yeah, it's an excellent point that many people make. So I'm gonna go, not cognitive disabilities, I'm gonna go students with disabilities. I think it's on this page now. It's students with disabilities. Okay, communication support, okay? And so tools for developing communication plans, the document's right here. So let me go back again just to show you that again. Library, category, students with disabilities. Scroll all the way down till you see communication support, and then it's here, communication plans. So this is that document that I showed in my presentation. And again, some districts have taken this document and they've created their own communication plan framework for it. So if you're in a district and the communication plan with the IP doesn't look like this one, it might be because that district decided to revamp this and make it a little bit more user-friendly. But in my opinion, everything in this document needs to be discussed. Okay. And that's just like, all these questions need to be thoroughly thought about and reflected on. That's why pages 1 through 8 are just about gathering data. And then the actual plan itself is on pages 9, 10, and 11. And the last page is just vocabulary. So it's really not that intimidating whenever you read through it and you understand its purpose. It's a really great tool. So I hope I answered that question. What was that other one that I just missed, Bambi?
Is there any examples of adults who successfully use AT? And it was by Dr. Jim Mitchell, who serves on the Governor's Advisory Council on Disability Affairs. So of course, he knows a great example. Unfortunately, we lost her just a few months ago, and she was the chairperson of that council, Lynette Fontenot, who is an excellent example of an adult who uses AT very effectively.
I'm sorry, I do know her, and I was about to say her name. I was unaware. I did not know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. But I was going to say her because she actually spoke at our last big conference in Baton Rouge last year. And she really changed a lot of people's attitudes about augmentative and alternative communication, because I had people coming in like droves because they knew of a student that was locked in their body and they could not communicate and had a lot of behavior that was communicative, And so I think it's just important for teachers, paras, and service providers to understand that, just because a student can't verbally communicate doesn't mean that they don't have something to say. So we're constantly preaching that in our trainings about listening with not just your ears, but your eyes and your whole entire being, so that you can provide, the right tool for the students to better communicate. So yeah, we have a lot of students coming up actually in elementary and middle school students that are using eye gaze they're learning it right now to better communicate their wants and needs. And so we're hopeful in that school districts are going to offer that exposure to students that are in wheelchairs and that typically don't verbalize. How do students get access to role models? Oh, it's a great question. People typically in our field work with, lots of different people in different geographical areas. And what happens is that we're kind of like a family in a sense that we, when we hear about a student, we typically say, well, do you know that there's a student, somewhere else? But I mean, I would think like maybe even social media could be a platform that people can reach out to other families of children with disabilities with their same disability, to be able to have that, that community of people that understand or that have experience, I hope that answered the question. But you can reach
It
out to
did.
me. I can put you in contact with other people depending on your parish. We could find the people that would know what kind of services in that particular parish. But it's really about educating people. Which was mandatory to use. Yeah. Unfortunately, that communication document is not mandatory. It's highly recommended. And like I said, a lot of districts have taken that document and they have, you know, created their own document, and some districts do a really, really good job, and other districts are still working on it. So we are definitely here to provide that support to districts that might have that frequent turnover. You know how people retire and then they get new people in there and then they have to learn the process again. So I hope that answered all the questions, but just know that we are here for families and school districts that are having that frequent turnover of people that are, you know, maybe it's their first time working with this population.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for such an informative session and so many resources. We will link any resources that you send in the conference schedule, as well as the recording of this session. The next session will begin at noon, so everyone grab something to eat and meet us here again at noon. And you are all welcome to stay logged on during the break. See you all at noon, and thanks again,
Thanks,
Tammy.
Tammy. Thank you guys. Have a good day.